Hi, folks. It's Paul Ramsey, and I'm joined by Jason Linett, who is teaching a 2-hour workshop at the 2017 NGH convention. The title is Empower Your Facebook Marketing Strategies for Local and Global Success. How are you, Jason?
Doing fantastic, Paul. How you doing?
Good. Good to have you here. I like these learning objectives. I mean, they're simple, but they're powerful. Name no cost to low cost strategies to grow your hypnotism business. That's what we all want, right? Describe action steps to be found on social media, where finally some folks have been a little bit uh, Luddite about it, but now people are really finally giving into the idea that social media is not going away, right? So they're saying, okay, finally I'll do this stuff. Identify practical steps for spending marketing dollars where it matters most. Huge fear area for small people, small
Absolutely.
business owners, small practitioners, and name methods to track which strategies are performing best. This is good stuff. Tell me about what's been your experience with Facebook marketing?
The beauty of Facebook marketing is that it has never been this easy to position yourself quickly in front of any group of people you want to position yourself in front of. And it's where you may have your own preconceived notions around Facebook, social media, though I got to tell you, it's 2017, and to be running a business these days, you've got to be there. And if you're not there, you're literally leaving money on the table because there's so much opportunity that's out there. That being said, it's not just the strategy of, hey, I've got this thing to sell, who wants to buy it? It's about really revitalizing at its core the same conversation that's had inside of any successful interaction, whether it's a friendship, whether it's a purchase. So at its core, the formulas are no different than they've ever been before. But the benefit of Facebook is that suddenly, I'll tell you a quick story. Here's a guy who I worked with that he was diabetic and specifically had a bit of a sweet tooth. And at the end of our time together, he actually goes, hey, I see you've got your camera. Do you want a video testimonial? Well, if you insist, I guess we can do that, right? So
Right.
suddenly, let's get laser specific here. Here is a guy who is diabetic and wants to curb his sweet tooth. And as I'd often say on the business building side of things, when you try to sell to everybody, you end up selling to nobody. Well, the wonders of Facebook. In a geographic radius around my office, that video was then specifically going out to people who had also interacted with pages related to diabetes education. Very, very low cost campaign. That was a paid campaign, and the phone was ringing constantly as a result of it, to the point that I'm running it again because it's cycled through and it's working. So it has never been this easy to discover new markets, hey, and sometimes to invent new markets. And whether you're looking at a local business or even a global business as well. So there might be some specific niche categories you'd like to work within that maybe you've got a product, maybe you've got a training for. So to be able to reach beyond your geographic radius, I'm in the Washington, D.C. area. I'm in Alexandria, Virginia, 10 miles north. I'm right in downtown D.C. So it's a big area, though these days my business is international. The students who are interacting with materials, client sessions I'm doing across the country, and it has never been this easy to access this many people with a specific message that's going to be of value to them, and Facebook is the mechanism that makes that happen for me.
Awesome. Tell me about when you got to that tipping point in your awareness from being an average Facebook user to really seeing how their evolution was opening up these possibilities.
Yeah, and of all things, again, some people interacting with this video here today may have some negative opinions on it. And it's actually the real epiphany was that I don't know if this is bragging rights, but I spent enough money in terms of Facebook advertising that my phone rang and it's like, hi, I'm your dedicated ad rep. And if you have any further questions, you can always reach out to me directly. So I was able to actually speak with somebody there and to hear the mission statement of this publicly traded organization now, it always comes back to the user experience. Inside of all that they do, yes, they are running a multiple billion, if not trillion-dollar platform now, but it always comes back to the user experience. That if suddenly my friend Paul Ramsey adopts a puppy, I want to be able to see those photos of the puppy. And if suddenly here's this other person who's trying to sell some random product that I've got no interest in, and I'm not happy about that, I'm not going to be coming back to Facebook. And they recognize this aspect. So it's this constant game of, this is what the content of this 2-hour workshop is all about, to make sure your message is actually something that they're going to want to interact with. Because when you're giving the sales process the bad name, you're not going to show up. And many people who I know are attending this convention or even speaking at the convention have griped online around, yeah, but I post something and no one sees it because it's not visible. There's a reason why. There's something you're not doing correctly. So again, the same conversation as to how we'd establish a friendship is the same conversation as how we cultivate that relationship with our incoming prospect, our potential buyer. And it's where inside of that, this was that turning point for me of that conversation of learning what's behind their strategies. Yes, they want to turn a profit. Yes, they have a lot of highly paid people, as any successful business should have, in my opinion. But at its core, they want the user to keep coming back for the positive experience. And when you learn how to empower your Facebook marketing, here, there's a good title for a workshop. When you learn how to empower your Facebook marketing by delivering the content in an appropriate way that establishes the relationships and wants people to continue that conversation, that's when the phone begins to ring. That's when the students begin to sign up. That's when the dollars begin to flow.
And that's what we all want, right? That's
That's
what we all want. Again, this has come up over and over again. I've done over 90 of these interviews now. And to hear people like Jason, you guys who have a genuine passion for doing the helping side, the helping work, right? But like that isn't good enough, quite frankly. It's not good enough if you can't get people through your door. And so thankfully, if you go to the convention, you get a chance to hang out with people like Jason, who not only have that passion for helping people create positive change in their life, but also have put in the legwork to figure out how to get people through their door.
And I've also wasted the money on stuff that doesn't work. And I'm going to be telling you about
the
that
next
stuff
thing I was going to say. And what would you rather do is spend 1,000 hours learning it yourself, or go and hang out with Jason at a 2-hour like this and let him steepen your learning curve for you, right? Because Jason, I mean, talk more about that. Talk more about that.
This is why I love this topic so much, because there's something that, not to be abrasive, not to be harsh, but there's something wonderfully entertaining around not just hypnotists, understand that, not just hypnotists, but this specific category of advertising on Facebook. People want to argue with me that they've tried it and it didn't work, that there's no value in it. Oh, that's a waste of time and money. When meanwhile, okay, here's this campaign that for every dollar I put on the table, $13 came back. Here's this campaign that for every dollar I put in, about 40 came back. And yes, of course, here are the campaigns that I put in $1 and wave goodbye. So, but it's where to learn the strategies behind it, to learn how to effectively test and then scale that business up. But it's that thing that I'm so amused about this topic. It is a polarizing issue, as much as I don't mean for it to be controversial, but I mean, there are certain forums online where people have wanted to argue back at me, that doesn't work. And I'm giving the proof in that moment. Okay, seriously, here's a screenshot. Here's the conversion rates. Here's where it's actually working. Okay, yes, you threw $400 into that thing and nothing came out of it. And this is going to go in one ear, out of the other of some people. But you were putting up a generic message going to your entire local geographic radius, and you were sending them to your homepage, which was not optimized to gather information. And you just had this bad campaign pointing at a bad website, which produced bad results. So to look at the entire conversation as to what really has to happen, and the beauty of this is there is one specific strategy that allows you, I'll just give you the tenets of this, to allow yourself to advertise only to those people who have been on your website and have not, fill in the blank, completed the transaction. Right. Signed up for your sessions, signed up for a class, purchased a product. There is a mechanism to only market to those people who have interacted with you already but haven't yet taken that action step. And I'm telling you right now, this is the cheapest marketing you can possibly do. And if you are not doing it, you need to. I have a campaign running right now that the total budget spent on this campaign over the last couple of weeks is about $24. And
Wow.
to date, it's produced well over about $3,000.
Yeah.
So it's not a major campaign, but if you were in Las Vegas and you found a table where you put down $24 and you made back 3,000, you
Exactly.
wouldn't leave that table.
Right.
So it's this little mechanism that not many people talk about that is the simplest thing to set up. And it is ridiculously cheap because no one else can run ads to that specific audience. The people who have visited, and if you think, I don't want to annoy people, I will politely remind you, Starbucks still reminds us that they sell coffee.
Right.
So there's the old marketing rule of 7 that people don't always buy on the first interaction. And to learn the right strategies, first of all, to make sure your ads are actually getting approved, to target the right audience so you're not spending a ton of money, and to actually convey that message in such a way that you're building a relationship. That's where you're going to learn at Empower Your Facebook Marketing. I love your setup, Paul, because I can cheat and read your sign right behind you.
That's why it's there.
The
That's
number of my videos on YouTube where I've taken a piece of paper and taped it to the tripod. So if it looks like I'm doing some deep transderivational
right.
search and looking for my words, I
Yeah.
really am looking for my words because they're
Yeah, that's so awesome. Listen, you guys, I mean, again, this is every time I talk with Jason, this is what he does. He leaves me with not a lot of questions to ask because he summarizes what he's going to bring to you so articulately, so succinctly. It's wonderful. Look, just a reminder, this is a 2-hour workshop. All right. It's on August 13th, which is the Sunday of the convention, 10 a.m. So 10 to noon, you can hang out with Jason. And I think, he's brought, if anything, you should go back and you should listen to this interview again, and you should listen to what he says again, because there's some really important stuff that he said here. Seems simple, it might be easy to just ignore it. Really listen to what he's saying. This smart stuff here.
and the overriding principle I'd share is that it's the same strategies, whether you're doing a network marketing thing, whether you're designing a website, that to understand the psychology behind what it takes for someone to take that next action step, it's the same formulas. So whether or not Facebook is your goal, it should be, because I mean, it has massively increased my business over the years. The training arm of what I do is the Work Smart Hypnosis podcast. And that's part of how that thing has grown so big. It's been downloaded more than 100,000 times around the world.
Right.
So when you have a message, it is your ethical responsibility to share it. And Facebook is that mechanism that, whether it's organic strategy of how to do it without paying for it, which I'll be talking about, or even the paid strategy, which at times is so ridiculously affordable. Let's use the old hack statement. You can't afford not to be doing it.
Right. Right. Hey, I like to kind of geek out on this stuff myself. And, I've followed Gary Vaynerchuk
Yep.
forever, since back in the wine library days. And for people who don't know who Gary is, his family owned a liquor store in New Jersey, and he used modern, platforms like Facebook.
He was technically the first person to really be successful doing like a wine membership where
Right.
you'd get automatically delivered. And there was a content mechanism of a regular newsletter where people could interact, build rapport, and then clearly this is the guy to buy wine from.
Right. And so what he's done now is his family still owns that wine business, but he started Vayner which is a $100 million revenue company. And it's only like 4 years old. And this is what they do. They help people with all this stuff. But I'll tell you, he's been saying for a couple of years now, for really about 2 years now, he's been saying what Jason is saying to you right now. And he's saying you can't find a cheaper deal right now on how to grow your business. And, the caveat that keeps coming with that is, but who knows how much longer that will last? Well, apparently it's lasting pretty long, because so many people, like Jason said, just think, oh, that doesn't work. And so meanwhile, people like Jason are in there killing it because other people aren't adopting. You could be one of those people. All right. And the best way for you to do that is to hang out with Jason and learn from what he knows. So
yeah. And really, in our modern era, all media is social media.
Yeah.
All of it now. There's a share button on every single website, or at least there should be. There's some sort of interaction format. The beautiful change in Facebook in recent months, where instead of just like or nothing else, all these other things of building that engagement, getting the audience interacting. As a tip, though, you mentioned Gary Vaynerchuk. Look up this guy, Jordan Syatt, Syatt.
Yeah.
He is the personal trainer that Gary Vaynerchuk hired.
Oh, Jordan.
And to
Yeah.
look at what he's doing in the health and fitness industries, it's beautiful, beautiful
Yeah.
stuff.
Very cool. Very cool. Awesome. Hey, Jason, if people want to learn even more about you, what's a good way for them to do that?
Easiest place to go is worksmarthypnosis.com. That's the podcast that I do. New sessions come out every Thursday. It's interviews with hypnosis greats featuring names you'd recognize. Sometime down the pipeline, Paul Ramsey featured on there as well. We'll get that scheduled. Interviews, tips and tricks, techniques, new information every single week. Worksmarthypnosis.com.
Cool. All right, Jason, thanks for making this time for me. We'll see you in August. All right.
Absolutely. Make it rain.
All
See you
right. We will.
there.